This is a policy-making summit where all countries will brainstorm in order to come up with strategies that are attainable and sustainable. The Prime Minister being introduced to some of the delegates from the various countries. The participating countries are Afghanistan, Bangladesh, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Haiti, Indonesia, Liberia, Madagascar, Malawi, Mali, Mozambique, Myanmar, Nepal, Nigeria, Senegal, South Sudan, Tanzania, Zambia, and Ethiopia and the US. One by one, the Prime Minister is being introduced to the delegates. These are ministers of health and some of the senior officials from these 24 nations. Each country brings with itself their strategies and success stories, which will be part of this convergence, the sharing of the various strategies, the success stories. And we see the delegate from Nepal. The idea really is to create a fertile ground for learning and growing through a dynamic and enthralling experience. And a part of this experience is the marketplace, where the Prime Minister is now being introduced to various delegates from the different countries. The marketplace is divided in 5 thematic zones corresponding to systems, partnerships, innovations, convergence, and evidence. India has an outstanding story when it comes to checking maternal and child mortality, as the rate of decline in this regard has been better than the global average. The decline rate of infant and mother deaths has been high due to effective health practices, vaccines, and the deaths have fallen by nearly 50%. In India, there are also plans to bring traditional medical practices into play. Ayush, that is Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy doctors are also being roped in rural areas to facilitate access to healthcare. A photo up here with the various delegates, the backdrop Call to Action Summit, which is being held for the first time outside of the United States of America. The first summit was held in 2012, and huge progress has been made in these few years in the field of ending preventable deaths of mothers and children. The Prime Minister being conducted around what is called the marketplace. He looks at the various stalls, various success stories, various methodologies which are being adapted by different countries, and the success stories that the different countries have also achieved through interaction with each other. The marketplace has been divided into 2 major outlets. The Prime Minister looking very carefully at the theme of partnerships, which is a government and corporate coming together with a common purpose, where best practices are brought together for this enormous task of ensuring that mortality rates are brought down where women and children are concerned. And this is the feather in India's cap, India's triumph over polio. It was a beautifully done campaign, and the tagline, "Do Boond Zindagi," is something we are all familiar with. It took us several years, and finally in 2013, India was finally polio-free. These are some of the methodologies of dissemination. We can see a three-wheeler with a speaker on top to the right of the screen. Eradicating infant mortality and improving maternal health are also a part of the Millennium Development Goals, or the MDGs of the United Nations. The summit will adopt policies to move ahead in the world scenario. And Prime Minister looking at some of the pamphlets and booklets that have been printed for the occasion. A brief look at some of the reading material which is available here. And now at some of the innovations that are being adopted in our country to ensure better health, better sanitation facilities, availability of medicines, as is being demonstrated here to the Prime Minister.
अगर 90 से कम है तो सर जो 7 का FRU है, फर्स्ट रेफरल यूनिट है, प्राइमरी हेल्थ सेंटर है, वहाँ पे ये इन्फॉर्मेशन इमीडिएटली चले जाएगी कि इस माँ को, इस बच्चे को इमीडिएट हेल्प की ज़रूरत है। 108 सर्विस अपने आप कॉल हो जाएगी और सारा का सारा जो सिस्टम है सर इसमें हो जाएगा। बैग सर ये पूरा का पूरा सोलर पैनल का बना हुआ है। सो आप जैसे इसको लेके जा रहे हैं, अगर लेह लद्दाख में लेके जा रहे हैं तो ये साथ साथ चार्ज भी होता रहता है। और पूरा जो सिस्टम है सर, ये सारा हमने NHM के साथ मिलकर बनाया है। और यहाँ पर इसमें देखिए सर, सारी की सारी जो किट्स हैं, आपके सारे HIV, सिफिलिस, सारे जो आपके टेस्ट हैं वो यहीं पे आ जाते हैं। और ANM इसको कहीं पे भी यूज़ कर सकती है। जो आपका विलेज हेल्थ एंड न्यूट्रिशन है, जो आपका पंचायत है, वहाँ पर ही सारे टेस्ट हो जाते हैं। और सर मज़े की बात यह है, जहाँ पे मदर आती है तो मदर इन लॉ भी आ जाती है, तो सास भी साथ में टेस्ट करा लेती है, ससुर भी। सो पूरी फैमिली के सारे टेस्ट कहीं पे। सर अगर आप दिल्ली में माँ का टेस्ट करेंगे तो सुबह होगा, शाम को आपको पूरी रिपोर्ट मिलेगी। यहाँ पे सर रूरल एरियाज़ के अंदर, जहाँ जम्मू कश्मीर में चला रहे हैं, 45 मिनट में सारे टेस्ट और सारा रेफरल हो जाता है।
Amazing how Make in India and Digital India are contributing to health in India, especially for the mother and child, because that is the basic unit for the development of any country, any society, and any economy. The Prime Minister is now leaving the marketplace, which will be open to visitors through the summit. The various delegates will come here and see what is happening. And this is a view of the plenary hall, where the Prime Minister will inaugurate the Call to Action Summit 2015. A short detour to sign on the board and a short message, part of the pledge to work together with the world to bring down, or rather end, preventable mortality of mothers and children. Pin drop silence here for the moment, but the excitement is palpable because this is the kind of summit which will go a long way in creating new policies, in creating new strategies in terms of health for women and children all over the world.
The Honourable Prime Minister of India.
About 45 different practices are being followed in the world to end preventable child and mother deaths. The Prime Minister arrives on the dais. To a standing ovation. And we hand you over to the dais.
Namaskar to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the inaugural session of the Call to Action Summit 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, this two-day summit is a very committed and a dedicated resolve of 24 countries of the world to come together on one platform to discuss how to end preventable child and maternal deaths. And towards that,
सीधी तस्वीरें नई दिल्ली से देख रहे हैं प्रीति। दर्शकों को हम बता दें कि इस वक्त वैश्विक सम्मेलन चल रहा है भारत में मातृ एवं शिशु दर को लेकर, और जिस तरह से इस सम्मेलन में 24 देशों के स्वास्थ्य मंत्री भाग ले रहे हैं अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन, और अफगानिस्तान, बांग्लादेश, इंडोनेशिया, मोजाम्बिया, म्यांमार,
Mali and other countries as well. Yes, Rahul, what is to be appreciated is the Prime Minister's approach here. Now, we've seen that India has set an example for the world to follow as it has achieved the polio-free status itself. And still, we have representatives from across the world, from the medical field, all who have come here to present their success stories. And India is still ready to imbibe and learn from these success stories, in spite of the fact that it itself is an example to be followed when we talk of how it has achieved the polio-free status, isn't it, Rahul? And also,
ना सिर्फ पोलियो की बात है, यहाँ पर मातृ मृत्यु दर की अगर बात की जाए तो उसमें भी 17% की गिरावट आई है भारत में, जिसको काफी
and a long road has to be travelled also. And here we have Prime Minister all ready to address the gathering there and present his viewpoint.
पहले उसका उद्घाटन किया जाएगा, उद्घाटन के बाद संबोधन होगा, खास कार्यक्रम है। और 2012 में ये पहला वैश्विक सम्मेलन हुआ था, और उसके बाद पहली बार अमेरिका से बाहर ये सम्मेलन हो रहा है, और क्यों नहीं भारत में, क्योंकि भारत ने इस बीच 2013 में खास सफलता हासिल की है। पोलियो मुक्त देश भारत एक तरह से साबित हुआ है वर्षों की कोशिश के बाद पोलियो से भारत को।
Yes, a healthy child and a healthy mother is the foundation of any establishment, any country, any state, and this is what is highlighted when we talk of the ambitions and we talk of the objectives behind this conference, this summit today.
Thank you to the Honourable Prime Minister and other distinguished dignitaries. So, ladies and gentlemen, with the blessings of the Almighty and everyone present here, we commence now our discussions at the auspicious beginning of the Call to Action Summit 2015.